what prompted this training today is one of the things I'm super passionate about is helping agents make more money in less time. But where that really comes from is I understand the ripple effect of lead gen, right? So if you're really skilled with lead generation, lead conversion, you're going to make more money, in less time, which is going to pay for the college fund. It's going to pay for the house. I have a goal of buying rental properties. Like, it's going to pay for all kinds of things. It could pay for medical bills, taking care of aging parents. So I want to help you earn more money. For me, what motivates me about that is what money can do for you, right? And so if we can help you make more money in less time, it's a win-win, right? And now you're going to enjoy your job a lot better. And I look at it as you are gifted and skilled in the area of lead generation, lead conversion, you have two options. You can either work less hours and make maybe the same amount of money you are right now, but just not work as much. Or you could work the same amount and just make a lot more money for your time. But there's no lose to increasing your lead gen skills, right? So today we really want to focus in on what are some skills that we can help you improve. And I do want to customize it. So I want to hear from you that will help you increase conversion. There are a few things I'll make sure I teach because they're foundational. And we're basically going to go for about 40 minutes, and then we'll do Q&A, and I'll be out of here no more than 50 minutes from now. So you guys can get back to your day, and same here. So let me hear from you guys first. What would you say is your biggest challenge when it comes to lead generation or lead conversion? And say it loudly so I can hear you. So what would you say is the thing you want to focus on today?
Discipline.
Oh, discipline. And be more specific.
Consistency.
Consistency.
Myself, I should lead gen at least 10 to 12 every day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Yeah. I hear that a lot. So part of that is figuring out for each person, we're all wired differently. I'm way into the tool called Strengths Finder. Have you all ever heard of that tool before? I love that tool. If you haven't heard of it, it's fine, but it's the idea of figuring out what motivates you and then playing to that, right? So we can talk about that some today and like, what are some things that can help you get motivation there? Now, when you actually think of like conversion of I'm talking to someone, we're in a conversation, and then I get stuck, or I'm not converting them at the level I know I could be. What would you say for those things are the areas of opportunity? And I'm going to make a little list. So we have consistent lead gen. What else? Are you converting every lead?
I'm not aggressive enough.
Say that louder.
Not aggressive enough?
Aggressive enough to push, not really to push people. I see people that needs to get a home, they can afford it, but they give me one excuse or the other. Just one excuse just puts me off.
Okay.
I just move away.
So basically like how to overcome their excuses.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Oh, that's better. Thank you. Okay, cool. So let's jump in. And I would say if you can't hear me at the level I am, just scoot up because I cannot yell because I need my voice for the rest of today. So just scoot up if you need to hear me better. So let's just start with the consistency of lead gen. So I'm just going to tell y'all, it's partially for yourself. So I think part of this is a role play that we're going to do in a moment to dig into motivation. We can have you do it with each other. But part of it is just knowing what's your own internal motivation. So the truth is, what's your name in the black shirt?
What's what?
Oh.
You said discipline. You're the one that asked for this topic, discipline.
Yes, Lisa.
Lisa. Okay, Lisa, thank you. The thing is, Lisa, part of it is knowing what is your own internal reason, what real estate will do for you. So for example, when I was doing lead gen in real estate, my mom was really sick with cancer and I was helping her with a lot of her bills. So I took a picture of her and I put it right above my phone. That way, if I looked towards my phone, I saw her face right there. And part of it, Lisa, is just knowing, why am I even doing this? Because the truth is, it would be a lot easier to go work at Walmart or be a receptionist at a law firm. Like there's a lot of things we can do that's easier than real estate. But the thing is, real estate has great reward, right? Like you can make an enormous amount of money in real estate when you apply yourself. So it's figuring out, why am I here? Right? And if you know why you're here and why you're doing it, that's half the battle right there. I know for me, anytime that I lose motivation, which I've had that even recently, I'll evaluate it. And when I peel it back, it's like, yeah, it's because I don't know why I'm doing this. When the why is there, it pushes us forward. So I think that's one thing, Lisa, is just getting clear on what is the personal reason why you are here. But the other thing is, get ready to take some notes. I want to give you guys a couple of things that can just make it easier to win the day. And I'm going to share with you a couple of things. I teach a class for MAPS called Mastering Inside Sales, and it's really mastering lead generation. So I'm giving you like 40 minutes today. That class is 18 weeks. So I'm just going to pull some of it out today. So I'll share some slides with you from that class. And we'll talk about like how to help you with mindset and take some notes. So that way you can remember this after class today. So these are slides from the third class of Mastering Inside Sales. And one of the things that can really help you with mindset is little goals throughout the day. So if you look here on this slide, we'll talk about a few of these things. But if you look down at the very bottom, the last bullet point, it talks about little goals throughout the day. And that is actually one of the biggest things I've seen with people that are doing lead generation. If they say, I have this many contacts per hour to hit, they just show up totally differently than if it's, I have 20 to hit by lunch. And there's a couple of reasons for it. I'm going to nerd out for just a second. But we all have a chemical that gets released called dopamine. When do we get dopamine? Anybody know?
Isn't it when we work out?
Yeah, when you work out is one of the times. That's why, have you ever felt like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, and then when you leave, you're always glad you went? Yes, I see you waving your hand. It's dopamine. It's dopamine. So dopamine is released when we do something that we said we would do. And I don't know what the reverse is called, but you know how you feel horrible when you didn't do something you said you would do?
Yeah.
So part of it, Lisa, and just everybody, is one, setting a small goal versus like an all-day goal. Set an hourly goal. So if you come into work at 8, it might be between 8 and 9 o'clock, I will talk to 6 people. And when you hit 9 o'clock and you have talked to 6 people, guess what your brain is going to release? Dopamine. Yeah. So it's like you're physiologically playing to just pure chemicals in your brain and hormones that can help you feel better. Well, you know what happens when you do something you were supposed to do? It's more energizing to do it again, right? So I just look at it this way. If I say I need 20 contacts a day, well, then I don't get any dopamine until the very end of the day when I hit 20. So I know this probably all sounds weird. I'm not making you like addicts here to dopamine. But the thing is, if I can say, well, how about I talk to 6 people an hour, or 6 people an hour would put you close to 20 within 3 hours. So if I said I'm going to talk to 6 people per hour for 3 hours, I just got 3 doses of dopamine versus 1 at the end of the day.
How do you talk to so many people in an hour when I talk to like 1 or 2? It's like a half-hour conversation.
Well, that's part of it, is being focused on why we're on the phone. So we'll get into that in a few moments when we get to scripts. And I like to call them language patterns, not scripts. But the thing is, write this down. The average conversation to get someone's true motivation and to set an appointment is 12 minutes. 12 minutes. And I'm a total nerd. I have timed this for as long as I've known Alana, since 2006. So, well, I guess I should probably say 2013 is when I got into real estate. So timing it in the real estate world since 2013. And 12 minutes, if I've never talked to this person, I'm not following up, I don't already know anything, starting from scratch, 12 minutes. So it's a good gauge for if I'm going over that a lot, you know, what are we talking about that might be off point? Because part of what helps you set appointments, guys, is we're not sharing everything over the phone. A true story is, you know how with COVID, we've had all these Zoom doctor's appointments, which I think are fantastic, by the way. Well, I went in for blood work because I was tired and I'm like, do I have a vitamin problem? Like, why am I so tired? And my doctor called me and said, hey, we got the results of your blood stuff. Like, actually, you're fine, blah, blah, blah. And at the end, she said, well, let's go ahead and set an appointment for you to come in. Well, what would you be thinking in that scenario?
What's the point?
Yeah, why do we need to come
Why?
in?
I don't need to.
Yeah, like,
Have fun.
you just told me everything. So, and I actually kind of laughed and I said, I wasn't trying to be snarky, but I was like, is there something to talk about that you didn't already just tell me? And she kind of laughed. She's like, well, no. So then I said, well, I'd kind of like to save my $50 copay if that's all right with you. And I did not go in. But the point is, I used to have longer conversations and just started to realize, like, that's why I'm not setting appointments, because we're talking about everything on the phone. What are we going to talk about in person? Because we're already discussing everything. So that's part of it. So if you want to write this down, the average is someone is focused and they're paying attention, and this is hand dialing, 6 contacts an hour is reasonable. 6 contacts an hour is reasonable.
When you say 6 contacts an hour, is that actual phone conversation?
Yes. Yeah. Now, some of it might be someone picked up, maybe I call Lana and she picks up and says, oh, yeah, no, I'm not interested. Thanks. And then she hangs up. Rude. No, I'm just joking. That's a contact because she knew I was calling about real estate and she picked up the phone. So that's a contact. Now, if I call someone and we talk for 10 minutes, clearly that's a contact. So some of these will be pick up, hang up. Some of them will be an actual conversation, 3 minutes, 10 minutes. Now if in an hour I set an appointment, maybe I'll have 5 contacts that hour or 4, but average is 6 per hour when you are being focused. So whenever someone is not achieving 6 contacts an hour, there's a few things you want to look at, and I'll ask you, what do you think they are? So if someone's like, dang it, I'm not hitting 6 an hour, what are some things to analyze?
Am I playing on Facebook?
Yeah, right.
Bingo.
Am I reading my emails?
Yeah.
Spending too much time planning the phone call.
Yes. Guys, a good pickup ratio is 1 out of 5. So don't do what I used to do, because I used to have a problem with this. Let me pull this lead, read all the notes, and then I dial, and 1 out of 5 picks up on a good day. So that means if I spend 3 minutes on average reading notes, 4 of them don't pick, that's 12 wasted minutes per hour. Can you see how that can quickly accumulate and add up, right? So that would be one thing. So checking email, checking Facebook, reading all the notes. What else do you think could hold you back from hitting 6 contacts an hour?
Just somebody does an email and you get that little,
Bing.
corner, and you're like, oh, I should attend to that.
Yeah.
You really should attend to that.
Yeah. Part of it's putting a barrier of protection around yourself. So in Gmail, I don't know what all emails you use. In Gmail, I recently discovered they have a pause inbox button. It's amazing. It's amazing. The other thing that I would propose is clients, current clients. They'll call you in the middle of lead gen and we pick it up because they're a client, right? That's actually distracting you from finding more clients. And so it's a simple fix. I was coaching someone recently, Alana, I'm sure you've done the same thing, where they kept getting interrupted and taking those calls. And she felt bad. She's like, I want to provide good customer service. So we came up with, her voicemail says, my office hours are between 12 and 5. I think she might have said 6. And if you call me in the morning, I'll call you back in the afternoon. And when she brought on clients, she explained, the morning, I am busy looking for a house for you or looking for a buyer for your house. So one or the other. And people are like, please do that. That's fine. So part of this is setting expectation with your clients of, hey, in the morning between, 8 and 11, 9 and 12, whatever that might be, that's the time that I've committed to finding a buyer for you or a seller for you. So during that time, I'm totally focused on that activity. My office hours begin at noon. Put it on your voicemail, and that should eliminate or greatly reduce the distractions from clients.
So I fake myself out. I have an alarm that rings at 10, and then I have another one that rings at 11, and I fake myself out at the 10 o'clock. I'm only going to do an hour, and then I get sucked into it, and then I kind of want to do it too.
And then you what?
Well, in 2 hours, because I'll do like from 10 to 11, and then I do from 11 to 12.
Yeah.
I trick myself, and sometimes it doesn't work at all. But for the most part, I actually am like, oh, I'll just do 1 hour today. I'm not going to do 2. And then, when I get to the end of the hour, I'm like, oh, I should really do the second one. And then I do it. But if I think of it and I think like, oh, 2 hours of calling, I'll never get it, and then that psychs me out for not doing it. So like that's why I set 2 alarms.
Yeah. I think that's knowing yourself. I think that's high self-awareness. Well, I don't know about you guys, but let's just be honest. Like, I do not really love the words lead generation, right? Like, it just like, ugh. So maybe rename it in your calendar. I know of someone who his goal was to be the CEO of a large real estate company someday. At the time, he was a single agent. So in his calendar, he turned it green because it makes money, green money. And he called CEO groundwork. And this all came from him. I didn't tell him to do this. He just said, doing lead generation is the groundwork for me to become a CEO someday. So he just renamed it in his calendar. You could call it vacation fund. And this is where it goes back to why are you doing what you're doing? Did something happen?
Yeah,
You're good. You popped off of our screen, but you're now on our screen again.
Okay, cool. But you could, thank you. But you could call it vacation fund. So a lot of it is what is our mindset around this activity. So a couple of things. Make sure you've written these down so you can implement them, because you'll forget when you leave. You think you won't, and then you will because you're normal. So just write them down. So the first one would be have small little goals throughout the morning or through the day. Another one would be making sure that you're timing your conversations. They shouldn't be more than about 12 minutes. And if you're struggling with that, I don't know if we'll get to all that today. That's why we have an 18-week class that helps you with all this. Also, I know Alana could help you with minimizing that. And others, don't read all the notes. That will help you. Another one is rename lead generation in your calendar to be what it really is. It really is funding whatever it is you want. Rental properties. I'm curious to hear from you. What do you guys want for being in real estate? Like, why are you doing this and not working somewhere where you don't have to do lead gen?
What's someone renaming what's their funds for?
What's the question?
What are your funds for? So why are we in real estate? What are we doing? Why are we doing what we do?
Yeah, mine is
Tuition.
my time.
Tuition.
Oh,
Yes, for my kids' private school.
There you go.
another one of the ones is fail to use their time. So work on their time, like their schedule.
Yes. I can wake up in the middle of the night, start working. Doesn't have to be like 8 to 5.
Not working an 8 to 5 job.
Yes.
Yeah. Guys, I'll be honest with you. I did lead gen Monday and yesterday. I did not feel like doing it. I'll just be honest. But I told myself the reason I'm doing this is so I can reduce my actual working hours. Like the more clients I have, the less actual hours I will have. Like the way my business works, that makes sense. And so I just reminded myself, like, do I not want to make these calls, or do I want to keep working more days a week than I actually want to do? I'd actually really like to reduce the amount of days I work. So I guess I better make the calls, right? So there comes a point where we have to recognize something is going to be uncomfortable. Not paying bills, that is really uncomfortable, right? Like not being able to go on the vacation we want, uncomfortable. Not being able to be with our kids because we have a 9 to 5, uncomfortable. So would I rather make calls, or would I rather just be a little bit uncomfortable? You just have to kind of choose. Let me show you one more thing, and then we're going to get more into language patterns. This is like surprisingly simple. So can you all see my whiteboard right here? Ignore this. This is your goals you want from today. Just look at this portion.
Hey, Anna, there's a quick question in the room.
One question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Stuff we were just doing. So when you're doing calls and stuff, do you leave voice messages that are detailed for the people you're calling, or do you recommend not leaving a voicemail?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I can tell you the short answer. And that's something that we spend a whole hour in class on, how to leave an effective voicemail. So I'll give you what I can now. But yes, I do believe in leaving voicemails. They should be 30 seconds or less, or they'll delete them. They're not going to listen. And you need to give them a reason to call you. So if I called and I said, hey, Alana, it's Anna calling from the Haro Group. Call me back so I can earn you more money on your listing. My number is blah, blah, blah. So if you can leave a detail or a fact about yourself that is compelling for why they should call you back. What won't work is, hey, it's me, call me back. hey, it's me from Keller Williams, call me back. It's me, call me back. But if you can say, you know, hey, Alana, this is Anna from the Haro Group. We sell homes 2 times faster than the average agent in the area. Call me back today by 5 so we can do that for you. That voicemail will get a call back.
So then how do you do follow-up? Do you do follow-up with a text message or an email if you don't get them?
Yes, I believe in both, and I keep calling. So the magic formula is 6 calls in 6 days. 6 calls in 6 days. Can I have a loving coaching moment with all of you?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm just going to be really straight. Is that y'all are Maryland people? I can be really direct, right?
I'm
Yeah.
from New York.
Yeah. Okay. I can really be direct. This is called a free training. And what makes it feel worthwhile to do is when I see people taking notes, because I know what will happen is when you leave, you will forget. And I see one person taking notes, but no one else. So make sure you're taking notes on this stuff because you will not remember. The magic formula is 6 calls in 6 days is what will get you a 90% callback ratio. 6 calls in 6 days, 90% callback ratio. So when you do that, and each voicemail has a different value add. So maybe one is your days on market. Maybe one is your list price to sales price ratio. And if you're new and you're thinking, I don't have any stats. That's the beauty of being in a market center. So you can use your office stats if you don't have any of your own to share. That's part of the value of being on a market center, right? So you can say our office does this or that. And when you do that 6 times in 6 business days, that's what gets you a 90% callback ratio. So the trick is value add with a specific time. Go ahead.
Say 6 calls in 6 days. That's a call a day. Do you follow up the call with, so I've been leaving messages, who I am, what I do for you, give me a call back, chat briefly, but I'm not giving them anything like you mentioned. So if I leave a message as to Maureen's statement, should I also do a text or an email?
Yeah, I recommend both. And I'll share a screen real quick. The best email, and I know Alana probably has a lot of stuff too, but we're going to give her a break for a minute because she's probably training you a lot. So I will help her for a moment here. One of the best emails, hold on, I'm working to pull up my email to show you. One of the best emails you can do is actually a subject line email. Okay. Are you ready? This is it.
Yep.
Oops. There you go. That's the most effective email I have found. Nothing in the body, just left you a voicemail. That one works really, really well.
Wow, really?
Yep.
Isn't it, if you, number one, people don't read these days, right?
They don't.
Give me a quick video, give me something instant. And then the other thing is that your sole purpose is for them to call you back. Well, if you take everything in the email, why do they have to call you back?
Yeah. Great question, Maureen. And then Lisa, back to you. See how this can also help increase your call time. Because if I'm not crafting these large emails to people that I don't even know if they're going to read it or get back to me anyway, well, that's going to eat up time, right? So the best voicemail, the best text is simply just left you a voicemail. And in the email, put that in your subject line. Subject line is the best spot. Now, I will in just a few moments start talking to you guys about asking about motivation, which we're going to spend some time on today. But know that in your additional text, you're not only ever going to say always just left you a voicemail 10 times in the text, right? So the next thing I would recommend is ask them about their personal motivation. So I'm going to say this to you, and I say it to myself all the time when I'm working on like marketing or following up with people. So I'm saying this to all of us, myself included. People don't care about you. Your friends do, but I know, I'm so sorry, but your buyers and sellers, they care about themselves, right? So if we're sending email and texts with, I do this and I do that and I do this and I do that, that might capture some people's attention, but most people are going to tune out from that. So the better thing to do is say, hey, Maureen, I saw you were on the website last night. What has you thinking about moving that's really exciting? And that's completely about her. Well, that's interesting, right? Now, I do think there's a time and a place to share about yourself. Absolutely. Like, you got to sell it, right? But the best thing you can do is to show them that you care and find out why they are interested to buy or sell. Does that make sense? And honestly, I think it makes it more fun. I really do. What's your name? You were talking about not being or how to be more aggressive on a call, but I didn't catch your name in the,
John.
Okay, perfect. John, you were saying like, how do I overcome obstacles? How do I be more aggressive in getting them to set an appointment? Honestly, the biggest thing, and Alana, feel free to speak up. Like if you have a different perspective, I think we agree on this, but the biggest thing is whatever their goal is. So like if I said to you, I'll use lead gen for a minute. You guys should lead gen because you'll make more money. You can pay your bills. And it's also the standard policy. Like if you're an agent, you really should lead gen 3 hours a day. Also, all the books, like the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, they say you should lead gen 2 to 3 hours a day. So we all should just do it. Like, I'm sorry, but all of that's true. But it feels kind of like,
Not doing it.
Yeah. But if I said to you, John, why is it that you want to be in real estate? And I already heard you say, like, you don't want an 8 to 5 job. That's not even that deep. Like, I haven't even asked you any follow-up questions. But if I said, hey, John, let's lead generate so you do not have to work 8 to 5. You can have a flexible schedule to have the kind of lifestyle you want. Let's go lead generate. Isn't that like a completely different vibe of conversation? Right?
Yeah.
And so with your clients, it's not, well, the market's really good, so you should do it right now. Or, oh, interest rates are this, or here's days on market. Those things do matter to talk about. But the primary thing we should be talking about is why they want to do it.
Okay.
Get it? So let's talk for a minute about how to dig into a client's motivation and see if we can wrap this up in a nice bow. We're doing the best we can in the 40 to 50 minutes we have, right? So let's see if we can wrap up how to dig for client motivation. And I think this will help you with what goes in my text, what goes in my voicemail, how do I turn up the appointment setting so that they actually get into action. I call that creating urgency. So we're going to kind of have whiplash for a minute because I'm going to not talk about real estate for just a second, but I see you all have a beautiful window. I'm very jealous, by the way, of the amount of windows you all have in your office.
So many windows here.
Yes, Ebony, Katrina at home. So just take a look out the window for a second. And I want you to imagine that we just hired a landscaper and we were like, hey, can you plant a tree right outside this window so that when it grows, it'll provide some privacy. So we want a tree like right here, right outside the window. And he's like, cool. That'll take like 8 scoops of dirt and, the tree. So $100. Awesome. Okay. So let's say we look out, 30 minutes later, and this guy, the landscaper, has done 1 scoop of dirt, but in 8 different spots. And you guys are already laughing. Like, this is such an obvious question, but what is the foundational problem with his method? Because we wanted a tree in 1 spot, and he said 8 scoops, and he did 8 scoops, but there are 8 like individual scoops everywhere. What's the problem?
He hasn't picked the place.
Bingo. You said that so beautifully. He hasn't picked a place. Well, where I'm coming from with this, we do that a lot with our questions. And I'll give you an example of this in just a moment. But a lot of times we know that asking open-ended questions are really important of our clients so we can learn about them and what it is that matters to them. But then here's what it sounds like in real life, okay? So this is an example of what not to do, okay? So John, just go with me here for a minute. John, what makes you want to be in real estate?
What makes
Yeah. What makes you want to be in real estate?
Oh, yeah. Freedom.
Freedom?
Time. Then
Okay.
make the best use of my time. At the same time, I have a lot of time on my hands for that stuff.
Okay. And what do you like to do for fun?
For fun, I'm an outgoing person, beach, hiking,
Okay. What kind of car do you drive?
Honda Pilot.
Okay. And we'll stop here for just a minute. Now, I was asking open-ended questions, right? None of them were yes or no. But did that conversation make any sense from a flow standpoint? Like, what's your motivation? What do you do for fun? What kind of car do you drive? Like, I learned a lot about him, but I didn't actually go deep with anything because just like the landscaper, I was jumping all around the front yard, right? So I was in the right activity, but I was not focused enough that I actually created some chaos, right? So now I'm going to demonstrate what we do want to do, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. And we're going to do that in about 10 minutes or less. So John, are you okay if in this setting I ask you about your personal motivation? Like, can I role play with you asking you? Okay. Just speak up nice and loud. So John, what makes you want to be in real estate?
More money for my time and more freedom, more time on my hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wrote all that down real quick. So John, you mentioned more freedom. Tell me what you mean when you say more freedom.
I'm a hands-on guy with my boys. I have 3 little boys. They let me run all the time, go beach, I'm in the pool, climbing, all this stuff. They want me to be there all the time.
Okay.
They ask me question when I'm going out. Why are you going out again?
Okay.
So all the time.
Okay. How does that impact you when your boys say, "Why are you going out again, Dad?"
How does that impact me?
Yeah, like what does that do for you internally when they're like, "Why are you going out, Dad?"
They want to spend more time with me, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to stop here. We could keep going, but I'm also aware of time. So we're going to stop here. Thank you, John, by the way. Wasn't that a much more valuable conversation than why are you in real estate?
Oh, yeah.
Like, we got a lot deeper, right?
Yes.
Well, here's how. And I'm going to show you guys this and how to do it really well. But as he talked, I wrote down some key words he said. So money, time, and freedom. And then the very next question I asked, I made sure his word was in it. Can we all agree that if his word is in the very next question, it will be impossible for me to change subject?
Yeah.
Right? So like the landscaper, I can't be jumping around if I'm using his word. So I could have said, what would more freedom do for you? What would more time do for you? Or what would more money do for you? Any of those would have been fine. Okay. So what would more freedom do for you? And he said, hands on with the boys, go to the beach, go to the pool. About this time, I was feeling jealous. I want to go climbing. My boys asked me, why are you going out again? So then I said, well, how does that make you feel when your boys say, why are you going out again, Dad? And he answered me. So can you see how when we used his words, it allowed us to stay on topic? And now I know why he's in real estate. So John, let's lead generate so you can have more freedom. You can go to the pool. You can go to the beach. You can climb. Your kids won't always be saying, why are you leaving again, Dad? And you can have more time to spend with them.
That gave me goosebumps.
Yeah. And guys, what's really cool, that only took 2 minutes. I was watching the clock. That was 2 minutes. How would it feel for you if you could do that with your buyer and seller clients? Like,
Amazing. And how does one change what they've been doing for so many years?
Yes.
I am very literal.
Yeah.
And I ask black and white questions and I don't dig deep. But
Yeah.
if I just heard what you said is just find the motivation first. Ask it straight up, straight out, right? What's your motivating factor for selling? What's your motivating factor for buying? And then I reiterate their verbiage.
Yes. So I have a wonderful solution for you. Someone on my team had this idea, so I can't take credit for it. But if you go to the website, leadgenquestions.com, leadgenquestions.com, I'll show you on the screen. There is this form that pops up, and I'll fill it out real quick so I can show you. And someone on my team made this for me. I thought this was so cool. It's a download of questions from class. And if you look here, moving is a lot of hard work. What put that on your radar? How will blank impact you? So we made this so that you don't have to know how to do this. You just have to know how to cheat. So you can print this off, and that's why they made it the way they did. Wow, I just made that really big. That's why they made it this way. So you could print this off, hang it up in your workspace, and then pull from the questions when you're on the phone. So you might be on the phone with someone and think, I have no idea what to say right now. Well, tell me more about spending more time with your kids. Describe for me what about spending more time with your kids is important to you, right? We could bring it back into real estate. How will downsizing impact you? What will downsizing mean for you and your family? See that? So Lisa, I think you ask a great question, and I love that that shows your desire to change. The simple truth is it's practice. And I don't know how you can do it without taking notes. Like even to this day, if I'm talking to a buyer or seller, I pull out a piece of paper and I take notes like this. Because I'm not smart enough and my memory's not good enough to remember every single little word he said. And part of the trick is if John said, I'm trying to think, if he said, I want more time with my kids, I should not say you want more hands-on time with your boys. Like from a rapport standpoint, I know I'm in rapport with someone if I'm mimicking them. Actually, this is funny, Alana. I don't know if you're looking at the room. Yes, I can only see 3 of you, but you're all sitting some form of this. Y'all are probably in rapport with each other.
Really heavy thinking and listening.
Yeah, but what's funny though, like you all have the same basic body language. John changed it up.
John's like, I don't want to do that. I'm not
like legit, sometimes I'm out to dinner with someone and I'm like, we're sitting the same way. Who did it first? But the point is, when you are in person, and you don't mean to do it, I don't mean to do it. It just happens when you're in rapport with someone, you start sitting or standing the same way. It just happens. Well, on the phone, we don't get to see each other, right? So what I am going to do is if John said, I want more hands-on time with my boys, I'm going to say those exact words back to him. If somebody says, I want to downsize, I'm not going to say, what makes you want a smaller home? I'm going to say, what makes you want to downsize? Because that's his exact wording, right? So 1, wow, she really listened to me. 2, I don't know why, I just kind of like her. Like we're in good rapport with each other, and I don't know why. The class I'm teaching right now, last week I said, before we got started, I'm like, hey, who's been implementing all this and tell us a win? Like just kick us off with some positive vibes here. And 2 people said, I don't really, like people are telling me, I don't know what it is about you, but I like you and you're the only one I want to talk to. Well, the client is bewildered. Like they don't know why they feel that way. But the people that are getting the training know it's because they're using their exact words, right? So it's almost like people are like, I don't know why I've had like 5 realtors call me, but you're the only one I've actually cared to take the time to talk to. And they'll say it. And then I think, well, who hasn't said it that's thinking it, right? So Lisa, back to you. I think the first thing is practice with friends and family, right? So that way you're not building your skill I mean, practice with clients too, but we don't want them to be our entire practice ground. So practice with friends and family. Usually after a training like this, if we did see each other again, like in class or the next day or something, usually someone will say and get emotional. And Alana can attest to this because she's been in this class with us before. Someone will usually get emotional and say, I had the best conversation with my kids last night. So use this with your family, use this with your friends. Like when they tell you I had a fantastic day, what would be a good follow-up question to that?
What was so fantastic about your day?
Bingo, you got it. Yeah, I got to do what I love to do. Ask me another question.
What do you love to do?
Yeah, I love to teach agents. Do you see how easy that was? So just start using their words in your next question. And when you are talking to someone, document it so that you can follow the trail with what they said. And then I would honestly, that's why we created, I was telling the team, like, I wish we had something that they could hang up on their wall. And they were like, well, why don't we just create a download for you? So here we go. So just go to leadgenquestions.com and put this on your wall. I was horrible when I first learned how to do this. Alana knew me back then in 2006. And she actually helped train me. So you guys are in very good hands. And I don't know if you remember this, Alana, but like I had sheets on my wall, like just lists and lists of questions. And so it didn't come naturally. It took about 6 months of practice before it started to just flow. And so just acknowledge like this will take time. It will take practice, but put some questions on your wall and you can start benefiting very quickly. I want to try something else with you guys real quick. And then I will open it up to Q&A because we're about at time here. Let me see if I can find it. The guy on my team who made this download for us made a QR code, which I thought was the coolest thing. I've never had a QR code, guys. I feel like I'm growing up. So I want to, I'll put that up on the screen and you can see if that works for you. Let me find it. While I'm finding that, what questions do you guys have? And it can't be like, what's your method for something super deep? Because we have 4 minutes. But what questions do you guys have that we could reasonably answer in the next 4 minutes here?
Anna, I have a question.
Yes.
When's your next group session start up?
Great question. So the next class, I'll put this QR code up for you real quick. The next class that I have, and actually I'll show you guys some of the content here. But here's the QR code if you want to scan that, if that makes it easier for you. But the next class is.
If you bring up your camera, it opens up the link.
Oh yeah.
And it works.
It does. Yay. Awesome. I have a QR. I feel like a grown-up, guys. That's so funny.
Anna, I'm getting a QR code for something. But
oh my gosh. Yes. Go get a QR code. I don't have a clue how they made that. That's why having powerful team members is really good. But I'll show you guys the content real quick. And then the class starts August 4th. But did y'all get something from today?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, do you think that you might be able to set 1 or 2 more appointments a month or a week from this class? Yeah. So think of the money that you'll increase because of that, right? So there's a class I run with MAPS. It's $199 a month for 6 months. And the content, you guys just got like a smattering of several different sessions because I wanted to give you everything I could. But like voicemails, we spend almost a full hour on how to leave quality voicemails that actually work. We spend a full hour on how to dig into motivation and ask quality questions. You just got like 10 minutes of it. So here's some of the content. Like we talk about how do you role play with people so it's actually effective and not a waste of your time. I provide a tracker for you. In this class, we talk about like, how do you open a call so people don't want to hang up on you? So Lisa, when you were talking about like, how do I have energy around lead gen? My mind went to the better you are at it, it will be more energizing. Because when we feel like I know what I'm doing, it becomes fun. So in this class here, we talk about how do you open up a phone call so that they are wanting to stay on the phone with you. And then what do you do if they're like, I'm busy, call me later? There's actually a language pattern for that. So you guys can see like how to pre-qualify, how to do objections. Here's the one on voicemails.
And a real quick question. So
Yeah.
I've come a few times lately. Now it's not a good time. So I said, oh, I'm so sorry. when is a good time for you later today? And then like after 5 or after 7. The last 2 phone calls I had, I called exactly at 5 and 7 and nobody picked up.
So here's the reality, and this might sting a little, and that we can't go deep because we're now at like 1 minute. But here's the quick thing: is it's not true that they didn't have time. Who picks up the phone when they don't have time for a number they don't recognize?
Right.
So it was a line to get you off the phone. So what you have to do is compel them to stay on the phone. So here's what you do instead. Hey, Lisa, I'm really glad you told me. I'm not going to apologize. Okay. Lisa, I'm really glad you told me when is better. And then, 5 o'clock. Okay, hey, in 30 seconds or less before you go, what had you thinking about moving? And the thing is, they start talking about themselves and now they're interested in the call.
See, to me, that's too salesy.
It doesn't, it's a filter you have. It's not. I promise you, you will make money doing that. I promise you.
Do I have like 2 seconds to share a story about that specific example?
Yes.
Okay, so really quickly, worked with this group of people. This one girl, Danielle, had the exact same, nope, I'm not doing it. It's too salesy. I'm not doing it. She pushed back nonstop. It took about 3 months of working with her over and over for her to continually practice it, to feel comfortable. And finally, one day we sat there, we made calls together. We're sitting there for 2 hours. We did calls together. And every time she didn't do it, she would do burpees. Okay. Right? True story. So finally, she's like, after the second round of burpees, she's like, I hate you. And she started doing it. Oh my God. The next lineup of calls, and obviously it doesn't always happen this way. I am not kidding you. The next lineup of calls, I forget the number, so I won't show it, but the next lineup of calls, every single time she used the, oh my God, thanks for sharing that with me. No, I'm sorry. Thanks for sharing that with me. Absolutely. And in 30 seconds or less, what has you thinking about making a move, right? Or what's most important to you in your new house? Just a question. Every single person she used that with, she kept them talking for 12 minutes and she set 4 appointments that day.
Wow.
She looks at me and she goes, well, I'm dumb. Get out of your own way, right? And I had to put burpees in place. Painful.
Exercise.
But here's
I know.
Here's the thing, guys, and I'm going to wrap up. I have a webinar in 9 minutes. I got to go get ready for. Here's the thing. What Alana is not going to steer you wrong. Like, trust her. If she says this works, it works. And sometimes we have to give ourselves a defining moment. Like, I also used to struggle with some of this stuff. I was a high school teacher there in Baltimore, and I was like, I'm never doing business or sales. It was almost like I'm better because I'm in education, which not true. My whole mindset is different now, right? Like, I see this as a way to serve your community. But I'm telling you this so you know, like, I wasn't born comfortable with this. This was like, ooh, business or sales. And I ended up at a temp agency with a sales job because I couldn't find a job and it was a sales job. So I had to learn it. And that's how I met Alana. And we wouldn't tell you this if it didn't work. So I would ask you to try it and give yourself a defining moment because it will work. They don't pick up the phone if they don't have time. Trust me. If they didn't have time, they would not pick up the phone. And it would be salesy if you said, oh, I'm glad you told me. Well, let me tell you all about myself. But you're not. You're asking about them. I'm really glad you told me. Hey, just real quick, what makes you want to move? And they stay on the phone with you. Yeah. So real quick, guys, and then I really do have to go. I'm already late I'm getting messages that I'm late. So let me say this and then I'm going to go. If you go to mastering, what?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. If you go to masteringinsidesales.com, you will see this class. It's really for agents and inside sales agents. So basically, if you talk to a human with the goal of turning them into a client, this class works. And this is the class that's starting August 4th. And if you want to read some testimonials, you can come down here. Here's what all it covers. But it comes in, you pay per month. It's $199 a month. Total, it's just under $1,200, which in your area, what's the average commission?
About 7,500.
Okay, I'm so jealous. I live in a much cheaper part of the country. But if you have one closing from it, which if you don't have one closing, there's a problem. Like, you will have multiple closings because of this class. But if you have even just one, that is a almost 6 times ROI. Right?
How often do you meet in a month?
It's 3 times a month for an hour and everything's recorded. So you can watch it on your own schedule. I love it when you join live because you can ask questions, but you can take it on your own schedule. Yep. Okay, I really do have to go. Maps is like, where are you? Are you coming? Did you get the link? So I gotta go. But I'll see you guys later. Thanks for setting this up, Alana. And
Thank you so much, Anna.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Good shit.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in.